games were super passive, and you would just reach mid game, and then like it'd be team fight time, and everybody would kind of group up and do their thing, and like that was interesting, that was cool. I do like getting to the mid game, but there was just no excitement for a good 20 minutes. Like it was there, it's like they got a kill, and then they farm some more. So I like what the game is shifting towards. I do like just this aggressive, action-packed. We're gonna blow you up so fast, and the teams that are adapting to it quickly, they are certainly showing their strength. I'd say the only teams that like aren't adapting but are still doing well might be CLG North America, just because CLG North America does whatever the hell they want and it works.
Though I will have to say, did you see the CLG.NA versus CLG.EU match?
I actually did not. I was sleeping, unfortunately, and I haven't had a chance to catch the VODs.
That's actually the perfect example of the exact opposite of what you were just saying, because you're right. For the longest time, CLG.NA, they have kind of just played their standard game and done whatever the hell they want. They were a team that they split pushed a lot and played a nice slow game. Weren't that aggressive early on, and they kind of stayed away from the current scene. They still are doing this. The CLG.NA versus EU game, they did a lot of weird things. Chowster, you do remember back when Chowster used to play Lee Sin for them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he went in the jungle and played Lee Sin. Hotshot played Nunu and ran Promote. And they played Caitlyn on double lift. And with the Caitlyn and the Promote, they went for extremely aggressive early pushing. They were able to take towers really easily. They were really aggressive with counter jungling. In the end, CLG EU, their team was just too tanky. They had really strong initiation. CLG NA, they had Cassiopeia as their main damage source. And EU had Maokai and Malphite. So that's never a nice matchup when you have the Malphite and Maokai versus like a Cassiopeia. But they had the Promote, which I thought was fantastic. It was able to solo split push a lane late game, and it actually got 2 towers and an inhibitor at one point. They just promoted a minion, and it created enough momentum in the lane to just push the entire lane.
That's actually awesome. CLG North America, like I said, they do what they want. I guess I'm wrong, though. They no longer need to wait. I do love what CLG North America and CLG EU will do when they go back to the respective continents, because they're still an OGN. They did qualify, for the next group. Congratulations to both those teams, actually. So they're going to stay there, they're going to keep learning, and they're going to come back, and it's just going to be so odd watching them play with just these new fandangled techs and just like weird strategies. Because definitely that was probably the least common League of Legends games I've heard about pretty much since the finals between Frost and Blaze with the 50-minute inhibitor.
Yeah.
But Draven,
I was about to say, in the meantime, we've been ignoring this game, and we have some interesting picks. Annie and Draven. I'm definitely curious, because I haven't seen Annie in a while. We've seen a lot of Draven. Aphromoo in particular, there's not many people who play him, and he does have a high skill cap. But the thing I love most about Draven is his pickup potential, just the fact that he can chase people down and win exploded fights very easily. So when you pair him with a nice AoE upfront team that can just instantly win a fight, Draven's there to clear things up and pick up those quadra and pentakills for you.
Draven's really weird because people saw him at first and like, oh, you got to catch every axe. That's not really the case. You are still a good AD carry even if you don't have every axe in your possession. But if you catch every axe, you probably completely thrash them in a fight. So I do like his pickup. I want to see what they run on him, because you're right, he's just not that common. Normally what I see being a big problem for someone like Draven is characters like Orianna, even kind of Anivia. Just someone who has a lot of AoE, a lot of range, and can kind of just control the fight. We do see Rumble getting picked up again. They have not chosen a top lane from CLG.Black. There's no reason they couldn't just pick Irelia right now. That might be a top lane Draven, but CLG.Black, based off their Teemo ban, might be a bit trolly right now, so I'm not going to say anything about that until that's locked in.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Draven's mobility is very nice. He has the damage, he has mobility, but you're right. When you have an AoE team, that can be a big issue. It's really easy to dissuade him from dealing his damage. That's why I always like champions like Corki to go along with an AoE team, because they just have all that upfront burst damage, and all of a sudden Draven, he can't be comfortable sitting in the fights. He has to be kind of skittish and run around, not get the damage that he needs. That's one of the nice things about Rumble as well. Rumble with the long-range ultimate, you can just use it to target those backline AD carries. Draven doesn't have the quick mobility to get out of it. So, Maokai and Anivia can follow up.
And we kind of ignored this too. There's an Annie in this game.
Yeah.
And a Malphite. Okay, they did lock in Malphite at the end. So Annie, it's actually kind of interesting to see her against Anivia. I can understand the pick for 1v1ing her post level 6. If Annie drops a Tibbers bomb onto Anivia, normally a lot of APs, if they do get a pick off on Anivia, it's actually hard to finish her off because it'll take a lot of damage in response. But, you know, Annie and that big ol' bear walloping on Anivia, I'd say actually wumping. Wumping would be the word for that. On Anivia will completely obliterate her in that little respawn time. So that's actually an interesting pick. Very odd. I've not seen Anivia, or not Anivia, but Annie picked in competitive play for a couple months now. She pops in every now and then. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Annie. Then she's gone.
Yeah, I think the big thing is they have. I mean, Annie's kind of a weird champion. She was buffed a little bit a while ago. It really helped solidify her early game because she was always supposed to be kind of an early game AP champ. You want to win your lane. You want to be able to just explode those early game fights. They have a massive AoE damage team, and all of the AoE initiation, you know, with Alistar and Malphite, the follow up with Annie and Vlad, the double AP, they can just instantly wipe the board clean, and so that's going to be really nasty to deal with. It should be interesting. The first thing though is they have to be able to control their lanes, and right now there's kind of a lane advantage for 4not to a certain extent. Draven will be very strong in that bottom lane. He's, you know, almost unmatched in level 1 and 2 when he's by himself. But Rumble versus Vladimir in the top lane, Rumble, you know, has the damage advantage where he can kind of abuse Vladimir a lot of times and chase him down. So that's going to be kind of an interesting matchup. And then Anivia mid is kind of like a long-ranged version of Annie. So I don't know. We'll see how that works.
The best way to describe Rumble versus Vladimir is that every time Vladimir tries to press the button aggressively against Rumble, like his Q or his E, Rumble can press his Q back, do 5 times the damage, and have it off cooldown sooner in the early game. Eventually, you know, he will have enough sustain to deal with him, but Rumble can actually obliterate Vladimir. And it's interesting because they chose that into Rumble, so I think they're confident in their ability to handle Martel. He did not do particularly well last game against Irelia. Just, you know, got some support from One Bad Brad and from Zuna on both sides of the teams, and like it just came in favor of Psycho Sid. So they're confident in their ability to beat Martel's Rumble, and if he cannot get too good of an early game advantage, Vladimir just can be stronger than Rumble in the mid game.
Yeah,
like he just hurts more.
Well, particularly since Rumble has to be scared to hell of the Alistar, Annie, and Malphite, and the fact that if any of them get on him, Rumble's just going to instantly die to, you know, their combos.
And Rumble, he's a very chunky champion. His hitbox is massive, which is actually really bad because he's not tanky. He has very little tank potential. He has a crappy shield, he has crappy HP, and you will not build many HP items on him. So Rumble, he's actually kind of scared right now. There are so many ways to kill him on the enemy team. I'm just looking, and I'm just shaking my head right now. He needs to play super defensively,
right,
super well. They need to rely on Maokai to initiate or some awesome Blitzcrank grabs, which Locust on the crank, something we did not see from him at all until recently. I saw him on it yesterday for the first time. It's like, oh hey, he plays a robot now.
Yeah, I am kind of curious, though. What is your thought of the Draven versus Ezreal matchup? Because I would assume, you know, Draven has the damage advantage, but Ezreal, with the attack speed slow, with his Essence Flux, he has a nice little thing there going for him. But I don't know, the burst damage and the harass from Draven can be really painful.
Well, the thing Ezreal has to do is not actually ever be in range of Draven. If that happens, he will lose a trade, hands down. The one thing they do have that's nice is Essence Flux because of the attack speed slow. The fact that Draven's axes aren't actually an auto attack buff. Like, you don't reset your auto attack when you catch an axe. So that is a nice advantage they have. They will be able to, you know, slow his attack speed quite a bit. But what makes it scary is Bloodwater. If he gets a good headbutt pulverize, God forbid a flash pulverize into a headbutt to knock him back towards Draven, or even worse if Zuna's nearby, they can completely control Ezreal and just wreck him because he will just not have enough DPS. Yeah, but if 4not can play it well, if 4not can stay out of range, shoot out Mystic Shots, shoot out Essence Fluxes, but you're doing a hand motion to exemplify what you should be doing.
I'll put myself on camera real quick just to, this is a simulation. These are the hand motions I'm assuming he's giving you. That was in 3D, actually. Yeah.
But with those 3D hand motions, if you can actually get those off without dying because Draven's in range, they will be perfectly fine. The Blitzcrank is actually kind of an odd pick. Unless they burst down Draven, those hooks will not be for their benefit. But we'll see what happens in the bot lane. It's actually kind of odd. Never seen Ezreal Blitzcrank versus Draven Alistar before. Yeah. I have to admit that one.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the advantage of skill shots versus Draven. You're like, oh, you're going to be standing there in a second. Hook! You know, just pull that off. So, I mean, that'll be kind of funny. We'll see if that works. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Maokai and Alistar, Or sorry, Maokai versus Malphite. Maokai definitely has the early game aggression advantage, but a lot of times now we're seeing it's kind of tough to force those early level fights, and usually lanes can be kind of safe. You don't have to worry about it. So in a lot of cases, Malphite can be a much stronger ganker than Maokai, even though he doesn't have that early game, just because his level 6 is so strong. You just kind of sit back, farm your jungle until you have that level 6, and then have that quick burst potential.
And Malphite ganks, they're almost impossible to react to. You can actually back off from Maokai. You can maybe flash underneath your turret if you think you'll get the kill off. Malphite, if he comes out and you do not flash instantly, it's almost impossible to actually react to the animation on his ultimate. They made it so fast, it's almost a blink, which I like because it is an ultimate, but it is so strong, it is so good, and if he does reach level 6 and the lanes are intact, like they have not lost every lane, he will be able to come out of the jungle and just kill everybody.
All right, well, here we go. Game number 2. I realized I didn't throw up the overlay on the last game, so we will have it underway shortly for this game. I'm actually going to mute myself for a second because I want to have a quick little chat with Studio, and I'll be right back in a second as we get in this game. Hey guys, we're back. It was a very sexy private conversation. Lots of personal information going back and forth. So, of course, I couldn't let you guys be involved in it. Regardless, here we are in this game. And again, 4not making their way over as a team, looking for that early team play.
I mean, I had to take my pants off during that conversation. They're still not back on. Just need to let you know that. They're waiting for this.
Just a warning, guys.
Throw a sapling. If they don't throw a sapling and reveal themselves, then they might have a chance to actually catch them. Nope, we do see CLG.Black just going for the invade. With that Alistar, their level 1 is amazing, especially because Annie, I forgot about that. Level 1, Incinerate, cast it in your base, come out, and you have some of the best level 1 fight potential.
Yeah, no, that's it's definitely very strong. And with Draven as well, like all around as a team, they're very strong. So that is the nice spot of where 4not is right now. It's a kind of a spot where if anyone runs by, you have the vision advantage at first. People don't usually check that brush, and you could just burst them down. So they have enough damage themselves, or they can just insta-kill someone. Even though CLG.Black has such a ridiculous level 1 team, they have a really strong one as well. But they will back off. Maokai will be able to take these wraiths and then transition over to the red. So he's a little bit behind. He doesn't have any saplings out, but not that big of a deal. His team has him. And we'll see where Malphite's actually going to start. Starting at race and then probably going up to blue as well.
I guess in the end, the slight advantage is actually going to go to 4not just because their jungle started a little bit sooner. We do see golems being taken by CLG.Black, not what we saw last game. And this is actually what they need to do. It's a good idea on the Draven Alistar lane just because they need the levels fast. Because once Alistar hits level 2, he's going to be so much stronger at actually starting a fight. And Draven, if they can get any early advantage on him, that's what will make him snowball. One Map Red actually takes a lot of damage with his blue buff. This is what we saw last game too, and it will set him back quite a bit. He looks like he needs to either heal or do something as soon as it's dead.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that his team doesn't give him a little bit more support at that blue if he's going to be getting so low. And then he's forced to use that smite. Because a lot of times with Maokai now, you'll just help him completely clear the blue without using the smite so he can get up there for the quick red. He has the quick level 3 at about 3 minutes with the double buff. In the meantime, Malphite's actually making his way up to the red buff. And actually, Takashi X chasing down Link, flashing after it. One more attack. He has the Ignite as well. He grabs the first blood. And that's definitely an interesting thing. But he has the range advantage over Anivia. They're actually very similar attack range, but the Flash Frost is just... It's, what is it?
625 on Annie, 600 on Anivia. Two of the highest range characters in the game, actually.
Yeah, I do remember they're always, I mean, that's the strength of them, is their ranged harass in lane. Locust with the hook back on the Bloodwater, not really that big of a deal. Gets a little bit of harass off. Hoodstomp actually kind of low here. A lot of it from minion harass. But, you know, he can kind of just sit back, heal up a little bit.
And across, like, the lanes are just very odd because I know who should have an advantage, but at the same time, we actually don't know what's going to happen for sure. Just because the way the teams have played, they have unique styles. In the bot lane, like Locust grabbing Alistar, you'd never grab Alistar. They actually wanted to bait out the Pulverize. They do it again, actually. Bloodwater knocked up in the air. They're going to try and take him out, it seems. Nope, just poke him down. And both supporters just taking some damage with CLG.Black coming out ahead.
Yeah, and if they can,
or not,
if they can put the pressure onto Alistar in particular, get him low enough where he's not comfortable coming in, that could be a nice thing for him. One bad Brad coming onto Malphite though, throws off the Twisted Advance, will want to back out of there. Zuna chasing him down, has the double buff, so if he can proc that red buff. In the meantime, a kill going on bottom, but Vladimir is here as well. Annie making the way up. The slow from the Vladimir pull. Can Link get in with the stun? He doesn't quite have enough, and they're both able to flash out of there. And actually, I'm going to go back and take a look at this kill bottom. It seems like it was an unfortunate hook. I'll go back one more time. But yeah, it just seems like Blitzcrank was actually able to hook Hoodstomp. They're able to pick up that kill, and Bloodwater is extremely low as well.
And overall, just kind of like the plan from 4not, it worked. They pressured Alistar to a point where he couldn't safely engage and disengage. With Hoodstomp having no backup, he just kind of melted. And I really like the style. Not what you normally see, but it worked. Up in the top lane, actually, Martel, nope, never mind, disengages to get the CS. He could have tried to chase down Vladimir and actually get the kill on him, but decides, you know what, I need this farm. It's guaranteed.
And he was also running into a cannon minion. He was walking into the next wave. He knows that he can just continue to zone Vladimir, so he doesn't really want to force it. But Maokai with this Twisted Advance onto Link after the wall off from Tekashi X. They have plenty of damage once again to chase him down. One bad Brad does go down, but the auto attack is able to pick him up. Can Zuna egg him at the very least? No. So Tekashi X just in complete control. And again, Martel just chasing down Psycho Sid. That's the big issue, is just how much damage output you have. And then in the long top lane, Rumble can just chase down anyone and easily abuse them.
Now, Tekashi X, he has that blue buff. He's about level 6. This is the perfect setup because now they can they'll be able to transition to the level 7 blue buff when it spawns. Tekashi X will be able to pick that up right away. There will be almost no time where he doesn't have blue. And on someone like a Nivea who just burns through mana like crazy, her ultimate draining it incredibly quickly, the same with pretty much all of her skills, that's going to be able to just let Link get obliterated if Tekashi X can keep up the aggression, not get ganked by Zuna, who's almost level 6 himself, and just he will win the lane. And this is actually a great start. Any flying behind is not what you want. Bloodwater actually gets grabbed in the bot lane. Headbutts are Ezreal away. They're trying to just poke at each other. I like this just damage trading that is going on in the bot lane.
Yeah, and actually Hoodstomp chasing him down a little bit, gets some harass. The Essence Flux, though, Ezreal's in control there. But Maokai, again, coming in the mid lane, just constant pressure. The Flash Frost as well. The Ignite onto Link. He doesn't have his Flash. Again, one more auto attack is able to pick up the kill, so they're able to grab it. The Flash actually just coming up at the very end there.
Luckily, not being used as it came up. That would just be unfortunate to be Annie with no Flash for another few minutes and a death on you. So, I mean, they're ganking Annie. She has no escape, but she doesn't have a reliable stun because you'll know when it's down. It's actually a great punishment. It's actually one of the reasons we don't see Annie. Just, you can kill her. And you know when you can kill her, you know when she'll have the defensive option to CC you and escape.
Yeah, and you were talking about earlier how it's kind of weird that they have Annie with their comp. And one of the big things that you want with Annie is just to be able to be safe in the lane and then, you know, be extremely aggressive in the early fights and control the early game. But if she's this far behind, you know, that's clearly going to take away from that. She's not going to be able to control any fights because Tekashi X is just abusing her right now.
Which it's very rude to abuse a child like that. Tekashi, you're so mean. The top lane, like, it is actually interesting. Psycho Sid is about equal in HP with Martel. He has gone back to buy. Martel's also bought an amplifying tome himself. So Martel's 23 CS behind. It looks like he actually just seems to have some trouble CSing in his lane. We saw this last game, the same thing against Aurelia. And the pressure from Vladimir shouldn't be enough to actually stop his CS. So he's falling behind. This is, once again, not how you want the top lane to go. He needs to be keeping up or killing Vladimir. One of the two. And since nothing's really happening right now, Vladimir will eventually be able to bully out Rumble, which is very odd to say. But if it does happen, it will just be like the end of top lane. If it happens once, it will keep happening time after time.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that lane, but I mean, Oh, that's definitely going to be huge. I'm curious. I mean, I guess Vladimir, he could go with a cooldown reduction build and maybe go Spirit Visage to just kind of negate some of that damage from Rumble. But I don't know. Like you said, he does have that farm advantage right now. So would you just say a standard kind of AP build with a Hex Tech would be enough to just be able to win that lane?
I think he needs to build a Revolver and then like a little bit of Magic Resist, but he doesn't need to like full on invest in it. Though an Abyssal Scepter would actually be an amazing pickup, just because of Rumble's low base Magic Resist. But he has the potential to really punish Rumble here. We do see Maokai headed up there. He actually changes his mind, might just go back towards mid lane, gank Link once again. Clearly, it's shown to have worked in the past. Actually, Flash from Annie tries to hit the Tibbers bomb onto Takashi, misses it though, and that bird will just fly away safely.
Yeah, it seemed like Takashi X actually got off the flash before he did. One Bad Brad, though, actually kind of caught off here. The Tibbers chasing him down, that fearsome predator of the night. But, yeah, one thing that is kind of nice about the Annie is how much Tibbers can affect the pushing potential later. You know, if you can pick up kills very easily, you can drop turrets. That's always kind of a nice thing to look at. But with the ult down, that's the big issue with Annie, is how cooldown dependent she is on her ultimate. She just doesn't have enough damage. And it is a pretty short cooldown, but still, for the next minute or so, she's almost kind of worthless.
She needs to have like some major backup coming in from Malphite. We actually have aggression in the bot lane. The exhaust goes onto Hoodstomp. We do see the headbutt knocking away Pearl. They're just chasing Hoodstomp. He gets hooked in. He does get low. Pulverize seems to have saved him. Will they keep the chase on? No, they do back off. The aggression really working out bot lane in favor of 4not, but some good plays from Bloodwater actually saving the day. I have to say, this is actually kind of scary if Draven falls behind early, like the same deal with Annie. They really don't want to fall behind. They actually have amazing AoE. An amazing AoE can make up for a deficit, which is only 1,000 gold at this point, which actually kind of surprising. But if there is a deficit, the AoE on their team composition can make up for it. But if they don't get off the perfect AoE or they fall too far behind, they will just kind of be done for.
Yeah, and as long as they can keep it pretty even, like you said, that AoE should be able to win the mid-game fights, but they still are going to have to worry about how Maokai is going to affect Draven. And, you know, if not only if Draven's behind, but just that twisted advance right on top of him, all of a sudden, if they don't have quite enough AoE damage to take down Maokai and Blitz and Anivia, then they could lose those exchanges just because their AD carry isn't comfortable in those fights. But in the meantime, 4not coming down for the Dragon. They have the Oracles, so they'll be able to clear out those wards and just continue putting on some pressure. But it seems they're actually going to back off. So Malphite in the mid lane, Anivia will have to watch out for that there.
The overlays may be saying the wrong thing right now, by the way. Just gonna get a quick heads up on that.
They are saying the wrong thing.
Now, Nick Allen is handsome. We have to reiterate this very often. Nick Allen, I would even go as far to say he's pretty and sexy, but currently his team is not playing in this game. So sorry about that. This is CLG.Black versus 4not Gaming. 4not.Fire, I believe.
Yeah, no, the overlays should be okay now. Maokai, again, setting up in the mid lane. Annie does have the ultimate, though. Malphite is here as well. They might go in for this again. The flash ultimate from Malphite and the follow-up from Tibbers. Takashi X going down very quickly, is egged, and then they have plenty of damage with that Tibbers to take down the egg. Oh, wow, one bad Brad going down as well. The Ignite on him, but Takashi X getting up, turning it around. There's the Draven ultimate, trying to pick him up, the wall off, and so Takashi X is able to back out of there.
So I have to say, my favorite thing about the entire gauge was Tibbers got smoked, and they could not kill the bear fast enough. They could not kill Annie fast enough. Just able to DPS one bad Brad down at the end. Martel actually taking Psycho Sid very low. He has ultimate up. He wants to try and bait out a heal. He wants to try and actually finish him off if possible. Both characters like really trying to get the most they can. In the end, Martel will back off, use the ultimate. Psycho Sid just walks on out of there though, regained enough HP, and that still has heal up. So
I'm kind of surprised, though, they focused down Maokai instead of going after Anivia. Even though Anivia was egged, I thought that they would have enough damage with Tibbers and whatnot, but all of their damage was going on to Maokai. Locust pressuring Hoodstomp once again, maybe going for the hook, but Bloodwater doing a really nice job body blocking him there. And actually Rumble chasing down Zyko Sid underneath the turret. The ultimate, he will have to block that. He will be okay. And Vladimir is okay for the meantime, but is very low. Oh, and actually Annie gets off the stun, being chased out by Maokai and Anivia mid. Will be fine.
And I have to say, like for a 3-kill advantage, 4not really hasn't made the most of it. They're at 1,300 gold, but we don't see dragons being taken. Oh. Actually, Takashi X just blown up in the mid lane, letting Link just walk up to and press R. Unfortunately, not what you want to happen when you have your egg down. actually a pretty big pickup, and then gold, like, it's back down to 900, less than 1,000 difference, very insignificant at this point in the game. So CLG.Black, they really have the potential to make stuff happen and quickly just make up for the 2-kill deficit.
Yeah, and Draven is doing a nice job of keeping up with Farm for the most part with Ezreal right now, even with the aggression that they've seen. Link doing a nice job pressuring that mid turret, though. That's kind of one of the big things. The hook onto Bloodwater, though, from Locust. He does go onto Ezreal, so they will have to back out there. He is pretty low. Didn't have to use his ultimate, though. But 4not, they can continue to pressure that bottom lane. And the top lane, again, it's interesting with how much damage that Rumble had done early on to Vladimir, that Vladimir's been able to stabilize that lane and even come out ahead on it.
I mean, right now, Vladimir is just ahead of Rumble. Martel, he's going to have trouble dealing with him, which is odd to say. Normally, it's a matchup that Rumble will just dominate, but he doesn't have that lead right now. He doesn't have any advantage. And as we get closer and closer to the mid game, the fact that Vladimir is ahead on CS, actually #1 CS in the game, is terrifying.
Yeah.
He needs to catch up somehow. He needs to play aggressively. He needs to go for a kill. I think Martel might just be a bit too passive to fully take control of that robot. But, I mean, you got to go for those kills on Rumble, and the fact that he hasn't, a 0-0 lane and not where he's behind is not what you want to happen on Rumble.
Yeah, and actually, Anivia, unfortunately, not able to grab the blue. One Bad Brad picking it up with his red buff. So, as a result, he loses some lane control, but it doesn't really matter. With how much pressure they've been able to put on mid, they are fine. I'm kind of curious whether or not we might start seeing Zuna come up top. Rumble with the ultimate mid link, and there's the wall off from Takashi X after the flash. The quick burst, they're able to take him down. It's a really nice play. Then they can transition over to the Dragon.
That's immediately what they do. I like this play. They're getting a kill, and they're making something happen with it, which they haven't done so far so much this game. They've good creep waves, they've done stuff like that, but they haven't made a big play happen. Dragon will go down. There is no contest coming out from CLG.Black, unless Malphite wants to risk an Oracle's to ult into the pit and smite. But a good play overall. I like the decision from both teams. From Black not to initiate, and from 4not to actually go for that Dragon.
And it was also nice of Martel to go down. Oh, is he actually chasing him?
Chasing down Psychosid. Psychosid very low right now. Martel is overheated, though. He doesn't really have anything. Trying to go for the kill now. He actually avoids the Flame Spitter. Will he be able to survive the ultimate? I think he has enough HP. The shield will be enough to actually barely takes any damage from that at all.
Yeah, really nice job from him. Draven actually trying to pick it up, not quite able to get it. So Martel, can he sit off? Oh, he is okay. Yeah, so it is. Oh, wow, the teleport from Draven. He was trying to get the fast teleport after the ultimate in order to pull it right down the bush. That was kind of interesting. I wonder if you have enough time to actually do that. But the nice thing with Martel, I mean, not only was he able to pick up the kill into Vladimir, so that's awesome, but then because he recognized he was kind of starting to struggle in that top lane, he was able to move down towards mid, and that's definitely key. When you're not able to fully take control of your lane, you leave the lane, try and get some pressure elsewhere, so that at the very least you're helping to control the game. Okay,
cool thing. Martel just bought Haunting Guys.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's definitely going to be cool.
When is the last time you saw Haunting Guys?
I think I've seen it on Vladimir mid before. I don't remember who it was. It was an EU game, but it's not very often.
So the reason they did that is because Rumble, they want the base stats on him now, just because he has been doing that well in the top lane. He actually does have the potential to kill Vladimir right now. But if you look at MR across the game, nobody has that much. Actually, Zuna walks into Locust, and One Bad Brad does have his ultimate up, but looks like he'll just die before he can use it. Does get the escape, gets hooked back into the Ezreal ult. Oh my god. Amazing coordination coming out from 4not. I love to see that. Psychosid actually taking a lot of damage at the top lane. Martel's just going to try and kill him again. Kill him once, kill him again. Just keep it up, and 4not, there we go. This is what we want to see from Rumble. This is what we want to see from just general team play. Awesome ultimates with Ezreal.
Oh, and Takashi X getting the Flash Frost, but missing it on Link X. And Link actually chasing him down with the Tibbers ultimate. He will almost go down, but is okay. Tibbers would have plenty of damage to get rid of that egg. But yeah, that goes back to the Haunting Guys, which is really cool. And people for the longest time have wanted Haunting Guys to be changed as an item, but the actual magic penetration that it gives you is honestly almost overpowered. Like it's a shame that it delays your later item builds, but for the amount that it costs, that much magic penetration is definitely really nice, since it's difficult to itemize into that.
So he almost has true damage, or he has true damage on Annie, Graven, and Alistar. All those characters take just almost the full brunt of his damage. The only person who makes it out of that is going to be Malphite and Vladimir. And overall, they don't actually have that much magic resist, so they're looking good to just take a lot of damage from Rumble's Flame Spitter from his ultimate, and that's, you know, the position you want to be in, just relevant in doing the DPS.
Yeah, and the big thing for 4not right now is they recognize that, you know, when team fights come along, CLG.Black have just such a ridiculously nasty team. Martel actually laying in wait for Vladimir, coming up to Psycho Sid once again. We'll be able to chase him down. Psycho Sid winning a little bit in the exchange, but once they clear the minions, Martel has plenty of damage. The true damage from his passive, or sorry, is it true damage or magic damage on his auto attack?
It's magic damage, but it's really high.
Yeah. So able to burst him down a little bit. Bloodwater pressuring Parole. Parole has the red buff, though. The exhaust going off into him. The pop-up from Bloodwater. And now Malphite is coming into the lane. Locust way out of position. Ezreal with the ultimate back, but he has to get out of there. So Locust is going to go down. The flash out actually, barely. But he does pick up the kill. So Zuna able to grab that. And in the mid lane, Annie actually going down once again, you know, to that dreaded Anivia, just abusing him the entire game.
What? Actually, Parole picks up a kill onto Malphite, does get taken out in the end, but like overall, we're not really taking control of this game, making good trades. The shutdown did happen, but I mean, like, you can't take that turn in the bot lane. They have to retreat, or Anivia and Maokai will kill them.
Wow, I actually rewinded too soon. I went back. I thought they were done chasing, so that's wild. Able to pick up that kill. They will get out of there in time, so they don't have to worry about the Anivia and Maokai coming down bottom. But a really nice job, and it's again, you know, 4not recognizes that CLG.Black, they're going to be able to take control of the mid-game fights if they're even in gold and if they can all group up and have that, you know, terrifying initiation they have. But they're 4not right now able to win all the small skirmishes, able to win their lanes, so doing a really nice job of taking control of the early game.
I mean, think about it, like, they have the AoE, what if 4not just tried to fight in every other lane at the same time? And it's working out. Like, they're getting kills top lane, they're getting kills mid lane. Bot lane, they still got a 1-for-2 trade, which, of course, not the best, but tower went down just to minions. So they're keeping up the aggression. Actually, Locust traps Bloodwater, does get pulverized, but with pulverized down, they're going to try and chase this down. But stop trying to disengage, does get slowed. He looks like he will go down. The headbutt is not enough. The ultimate does pick him off, and Bloodwater, now he has to run. Like,
yeah,
they just have control of this.
Yeah, that is kind of one of the nice things that I always like when teams do go for that map-wide aggression, because a lot of times you just see, you know, passive play in most lanes, and you have one lane that you expect to be your kill lane, and you're like, all right, this is where we're going to focus our pressure. You know, mid and bot will maybe go for Locust, not quite able to pick that up, but Parole actually chasing down Bloodwater with that red buff. He's able to pick this up really quickly, but when you have aggression only in one lane, then you get a lot of counter junglers like Shyvana and Nocturne who can, you know, have that counter ganking pressure. They can watch out, you know, have good ward coverage and whatnot, and then turn it around on you and win those fights. But when you're ganking around the entire map, when you're constantly fighting around the entire map, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You know, okay, this is a 2v2. I know I can win this 2v2. There's not anyone else coming because my team is fighting in the top lane at the exact same time.
And ironically, the team composition we have in 4not with the Karthus would be really effective in this because, oh, you're fighting across the map, let me help you. Because the long cooldowns of globals have really caused the meta to kind of not necessarily totally shift away from it, but you'll see games like this where there is no global on a team. This lets teams, you know, abuse this and actually go for those constant fights. Rumble, the top lane, actually gets caught out by Annie and will most likely be going down. His flash is down. What are you going to do? Try and kill someone. The anti-bomb is actually used, so a cooldown does get burnt, and Dragon is picked up during this time span. Oh,
but Takashi X gets some quick damage on the Psycho Sid, has to back out of there, gets off the wall off. He does have to watch out for the Alistar, though. One bad Brad trying to protect him here for a second. Takashi X gets that flash over, just holding on to it for a second, but is able to get out of there. And, yeah, well, I mean, it is a 6K gold advantage, actually 7K, basically, for 4not right now. And that's, you know, after the previous game, not something that I necessarily expected, you know, them to be able to take advantage of, but they're definitely doing a really nice job. They have, you know, great AoE control themselves. Anivia can, you know, easily win fights later in the game, but they definitely are always going to have to worry about that AoE, and just the Alistar and Malphite are just so devastating, you know, later in the game, and it doesn't matter if they have items or whatnot. They just, you just die. They're going to jump on you and you die.
Now, the big problem is they still have the AoE composition. Like you said, they're not super item dependent. So I don't want to see team fights come out from 4not because I still think that CLG.Black will win them. They just have so much amped up damage, especially because Vladimir's ultimate, People always forget about the 12% damage increase on that. That will just completely wreck a team, though. If they, 4 members get hit, even just 3 members can get hit by that, the damage amplification will just be massive. So, 4not, they're not out of the woods yet. They're not, driving away from this game looking back going, man, we have completely trashed it. They still have to play safe. They still have to not get into, like, the worst engagements possible. They can get into, an okay engagement. They can get into a kind of bad engagement, but if the AoE happens, they're screwed. Actually, bot lane Hoods Up Roll just going at it. Pro actually gets a lot of damage in response, dodges the ultimate. Locust comes in, flashes, and just, ults him to death. Pro does pick up the kill with, I believe, just an auto attack. So, looking good. Still picking up these kills across the bot lane, still going for spread out fights. I like it.
Yeah, and the big thing is the control they have in their lanes allows them to not necessarily have to force fights with CLG.Black. And top lane in particular, there was a period of time where it seemed like Vladimir might almost pull away from Rumble and then have the sustained damage to be able to deal with them. But because Martel was able to turn that around, he was able to get some kills and be strong enough now, he can kind of split push in that lane. In the meantime, Takashi X almost going down, Annie with that ultimate there, but the Blitzcrank hook getting him away. They are able to chase him out there. So Rumble, because he can have that control top, he can split push top lane and keep Vladimir there. He can drop some wards and know that he's safe. And then the rest of the team, they can try and pick up kills in loose situations around the map.
And actually, look at the Rumble item build. Like, I keep going back to Rumble's item build, but he's a good example of this. He's going for a death cap. You don't normally build death cap on Rumble that quickly if you're scared of getting into team fights, because if you get into a team fight, death cap doesn't keep you alive. Death cap just is that item you go, man, I wish I got my ult to Q off, as you quickly die. So they're not going to go for team fights. They cannot go for team fights. This is something 4not's done in the past. They actually used to run Janna top or bot lane, 1v2 in a different lane, and their goal would be to just get split fights where they never ever engage and could just completely control the map. They're going for the same thing here, but just not as explicitly. And I like it because A, it's easier to catch teams off guard with it, and B, they're making it work. But we do see a group up mid. This is like the time for CLG.Black to shine and the time for 4not just to be scared. Do not let the AoE hit you.
Yeah, but that's one of the nice things with Anivia is that she can stall out forever against pushes. It's just almost impossible to push against Anivia sometimes. So they do have the tanks where they should be okay. They could consider diving underneath the turrets if they wanted to, but it would really be kind of a dangerous prospect. And so as a result, Ezreal can go down bottom, but Malphite with the ultimate on Takashi X, the ultimate from Draven as well, trying to chase him out of there, and they're able to be okay, but Link with the flash in, the ultimate, the Tibbers. Anivia is egg. Link was pulled underneath the turret, will go down. One more auto attack, but there's the Anivia kill. One bad Brad is very low as well, and now with Anivia down, it does open up opportunities for them to push, and Draven is particularly strong at pushing down turrets with his attack range, and then also with that W. Or not, they cannot push.
They're scared of Ezreal showing up, they back off, and that's great for 4not. They just lost a fight, but they have any ult down. They have Malphite ultimate down. Even Hoodstomp's ult has been used. It's weird looking at the cooldown because I think it bugs out with the double back, but they now have control. They're now in a good spot where like, well, they use their stuff. They did get a little bit out of it, but they didn't get that much.
Yeah.
So they can go ahead. They can roam somewhere else. They can now get to a fight right now, and they'll be in a good spot. This would be their time to AoE, or not AoE, but team fight. If not, you know what? They can go back to their split pushing. If it happens again, it may not work again. Like, they got the kills, cool, but they didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah, and actually Ezreal just constant pressure in that bottom lane. That's, again, with that split pushing, because of his early advantages, he can kind of zone Draven to a sort of a degree there. He will push up to him, so Draven's going to be fine, but it does deny Hoodstomp some of that farm. It puts on pressure around the map where 4not can maybe take advantages, pick up kills, pick up free dragons and whatnot. I'm kind of curious whether or not we might see them start to be a little bit more aggressive with their ward coverage in CLG.Black's jungle, though, to try and see if they can force any jungle fights or pick up any kills there.
And I mean, look at the gold difference between Ezreal and Draven. He's 6-1-0 versus 2-3-1. Has a little bit of CS advantage, but just the turrets going down, the dragon going down. Draven, is behind like 2,000 gold. We see the finished Bloodthirster onto Ezreal. He has a Triforce too, versus just the Infinity Edge and Zeal at this point. So right now, Ezreal can kind of control just any matchup they get into. He just has so much lifesteal, so much 1v1 potential, that Draven, one of the best 1v1ers in the game as an AD carry, will lose the fight. So, like, they just have the control right now. They just cannot group up, which is actually something kind of odd. A lot of people don't like this strategy where you just do not group up, but if it works, if it's how your team plays, then roll with
quick
it.
Steal. Hoodstomp able to grab the blue Wraith. Just a minor victory.
No, little bit. Extra 60 gold in favor of your team. 761 crit though, so Draven still hurts. The axe damage does get amplified in a crit, so they have to watch out for any critical strikes coming out of Draven. He still needs to die first, preferably.
Yeah, and they are going for that dragon. The quick wall off from Takashi X will be able to back off there. Yeah, they do have to watch out for the hard engage from CLG.Black always, because I don't know, they can just burst down so many members of their team. Ezreal will be very safe. And that's the nice thing with Ezreal is you know what you're getting out of him. He has short attack range, so they're going to kind of struggle with pushing down turrets as the game progresses. And then, you know, in team fights, he always is going to have to be very careful with their AoE comp and the fact that he doesn't want to just instantly die if he gets a little bit too close and he's trying to get some auto attacks. But while he's bottom, while the split push is happening, CLG.Black just decides to pressure down mid. They do get this one tower. They will maybe transition up into the jungle, steal that red, or just back off.
I mean, they're scared to fight right now. Like, they take one turret, they only have 3 people there. They know Ezreal was bot lane, so he either has to retreat or come in from the side. They're still scared to keep chasing for any amount of time. And that is just, like, the level of respect 4not getting this game. We're not seeing the Aurelia juking at the Nexus this game. We're seeing just 4not, like, we're seeing CLG.Black going, like, you're a lot stronger than we thought you were last game. We're going to have to play safely. We cannot, you know, actually do anything too silly. I like this. I like the safety. 4not, though, they're heading towards Baron. This is where, you know, things can fall apart for a team like this. If they do get into the full-on fight, they have a 9,000 gold advantage. There is that potential to win an AoE fight. It's scary, because it can still go wrong, though.
Yeah, and they were really nice ward coverage here. They don't have the best Baron team, so it might be kind of tough, but the ward going off, the flash in from Bloodwater, and Malphite following up. Then there's this flash from Link as well. The Annie ultimate, they're able to pick up a quick kill onto Rumble, so Rumble is completely out of it. No damage from him. Takashi X split from the rest of his team, so actually Draven does go down, the hook back, and Takashi X able to get out of there. I'm honestly astounded that CLG.Black wasn't able to pursue that for a more of a win there. I mean, it seemed like they had the right positioning, but 4not able to turn it around.
And that is actually the scary thing about an AoE team. When all of your abilities hit, like, they got really good ultimates off. That was a great initiation from Malphite. The follow-up from Link, Ezreal did not get hit by Annie or Malphite, and it showed, though. But when your abilities are all on cooldown, they don't have anything. They just don't have any sustained damage except for Vladimir and Draven. Draven being dead means they could not continue fighting. So 4not surviving the AoE onslaught, if they can keep up their positioning where, you know, 2 people are being hit by Malphite ult, as long as it's not Ezreal, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's a great position to be in, where your front line can essentially get just obliterated, and you're okay.
Yeah, and just imagine with the Maokai ultimate, with that damage reduction, if Rumble wasn't caught off there, and if Rumble didn't instantly die, then 4not's able to turn it around with their AoE damage. They're able to chase them down with Ezreal and whatnot, and all of a sudden it could really quickly transition. But I think the big thing was Locust with the hook onto Draven. He was, you know, just a little bit off to the side, and the rest of the team trying to chase down Anivia, so he was exposed. That really allowed them to turn it around, because otherwise Draven's chasing potential is absolutely massive. In the meantime, actually Bloodwater getting caught off right in the jungle there, so they're able to pick up that kill. And I don't know, this does allow 4not to maybe pressure CLG.Black a little bit with their huge gold lead.
And actually, if you watch Bloodwater go in, the wall came down from Takashi X, blocking off any sort of engagement. They're going to go for this Baron buff. They should be able to win a fight here. It's a 4v5. Ultimates are all up for CLG.Black. This is their chance. They need to do something now. Yeah, the Draven ultimate comes in. 4,000 HP on the Baron left. They're going to turn off of it now. Zuna with the ultimate. There's the anti-timbers, the perfect AoE, but it's just not quite enough. Hoodstomp almost going down. Vladimir in the middle of the team. Everyone is incredibly low, but Psycho Sid goes down. The double kill for Ezreal. The triple kill. He's able to chase down Malphite, and the AoE was almost as perfect as it gets, but it just was not enough. They're able to pick up that fight. There's the surrender. CLG.Black knows it's over. Their AoE couldn't deal with 4not, so the win going on to 4not, it will go into a game number 3. And 4not Gaming, despite, you know, that last game where they really just got destroyed, they come back, they take an advantage, they play their team to the maximum effect. They show what they're good at. That split composition, that we're going to stay spread out. We're not going to go for that direct engagement. It worked. If they can keep that up, if they can get another team like that, and if there is not a proper response from CLG.Black, I do not see why Game 3 could not just go to 4not in the exact same manner. Yeah, and they had the engage on like 4 members in that AoE, but still with the Maokai ultimate, they just weren't able to take everyone down. And I think a lot of that goes to the fact that Draven, you know, he has that killing potential, he has the damage, but he's
it's very easy to engage on Draven and shut him down. And in all those fights, they're able to pick up the kill on Draven very quickly. So everyone was low on 4not, but they weren't. CLG.Black wasn't able to capitalize on it. They weren't able to pick up those the rest of those kills. So we'll see what happens coming to game number 3. We will take a quick commercial break. Then we'll be right back. CLG.Black versus 4not.